Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, current events, conspiracy, history fans all over the world, my name's Robert Huddleston, and we're going to discuss the Great Reset. By now, you've heard the Great Reset. Um, you can Google it, and literally it'll come up Washington Post. There is no Great Reset. And Forbes is, what does the Great Reset mean for you? Or the World Economic Forum, how does the Great Reset that doesn't exist affect your life? There's obviously, it depends what you read, who your audience is, whether there's a Great Reset. There's obviously a Great Reset. Tom Hanks has talked about it. Madonna's talked about it. They keep dropping the words, the Great Reset. And you can go watch videos with economic experts. I'm going to tell you all about Klaus Schwab and the Council on Foreign Affairs and Agenda 2021 that's now Agenda 2030. All that shit's true. I'm not going to go deep into every technical thing because I'm not trying to spook people. And that stuff goes over people's heads and it spooks you. Because you have ideas in your head drawn up by the media. So I'm going to try to explain as best I can, without being able to predict the future, what the Great Reset is and what it means for you. First of all, you don't understand why we're being reset. Long time ago, long story short, we went from hard money to fiat currency. Fiat currency means your money doesn't mean anything other than what we say it means. It's not like a dollar here is worth an ounce of gold. A dollar here is worth whatever we barter it against the market and ideas and war. But it's why we can keep printing money, like 50 billion a day. Because we're not mining 50 billion gold coins a day. We just have money that means nothing. It's the wrong term, but the right term, monopoly money. What happens when you continue to inflate money that has no intrinsic value? No value not tied to oil or not tied to a mineral or tied to a gold or a silver. It's just made up money. Money with invented value. Well, eventually you overprint and it becomes worthless. We've been there for longer than you think. All right, long story short, we went off the gold standard. We made fake money. Money's worthless. That's why, some people go and work all their lives for not much money. And then some people just get on YouTube and run their mouth and people give them money. Well, it's not like they provided a greater service. In capitalism, they served more people. You can only do that in the digital information age. And it's not like there was an intrinsic value of here's my blacksmith or here's my guy who digs a well in the village so we can all drink. Like Jake Paul. He's rich just from YouTubing. How many rich YouTubers can the economy support? We have this idea that anyone can be rich and famous, and everyone cannot be rich and famous. Have we hit a tipping point? I don't know what the number is of citizens in America, we'll say, that do not provide a tangible service or good. Now, if you're Wesley Snipes and you make movies and I go pay to watch that movie, it's entertaining. You provided me a service or a good, or however you want to rank that. But none of those are needs in the sense of if we all went back to a feudal society, we all start providing needs. There's not a need for Blade, right? How many Wesley Snipeses, Ryan Reynolds, Jessica Biels can we pay a full-time wage in a village to entertain us on Saturday? All week long, you train, you rehearse, we pay you. We're not paying them a wage. We're paying them incredible amounts of money. Justin Bieber. Sure, he saved and helped and touched a billion lives, but he never actually fed anyone. Like, he never grew a thing or hunted a thing. He never smithed out a tool. So, we have a Justin Bieber, except he's not a Justin Bieber that we pay money to court jester on Saturday. He's a billionaire. Oprah's a billionaire. Hugh Jackman's 100 millionaire. Andy Dick is a 10 millionaire. Tom Cruise is 100 millionaire. How many 100 millionaires can an economy of $40,000 a year nurses and coal miners support? Now everyone on a basketball team professionally is wealthier than almost everybody who watches them. I'm sure there's a percentage. I'm sure there are millionaires that also watch basketball. But the vast majority of people watching basketball all the time aren't nearly as wealthy as the people. Now, it's a way small fraction of our society that gets that. But then they get dozens of wages. Well, that's everyone in the basketball league. And everyone in the football league. And a ton of boxers who don't really fight. Like Floyd Mayweather's, is he worth hundreds of millions? I don't know if he ever really made that much money, but let's say he did. Never fought anybody worth, I mean, I like Conor. I liked watching that one. Other than that, I never watched a Floyd fight. They were boring. They didn't even entertain me. So this guy found a way to make hundreds of millions of dollars without even being entertaining, just being good at a niche without people even liking it. It's like if Tom Cruise were really, really good at making bad movies. Like, Floyd never beat the brakes off of anybody. He went out there and won fights. He was a brilliant pugilist, but he didn't entertain people or bring joy. He somehow found a way to be bad at something. In the sense of like having fans, people, and make $1 billion. How many Floyds can we support? Well, if you know their name in boxing, they're rich. Are mixed martial artists underpaid? Sure. But a lot of them make a wonderful living compared to the coal miner, whose life is just as hard and dangerous, more so. You know, you have fighters scoff at $200,000. And it's like an 8-week camp, pay some people you know to help you get ready, and then one night's performance. Coal miners don't make that in 8 weeks. You know, telephone pole linemen who get great money to work in disasters don't make $200,000 in 8 weeks. I mean, that's insane money. But we pay people with no tangible education, right? They know how to fight. They have fight education. But they're not out saving lives with that fight education. They're not defeating bad guys. They're not on the police force. They're doing it to entertain. Well, how many entertainers, if you think in all of entertainment, can a country full of nurses and cooks and carpenters support? Because that's where some of our money goes. Now, your money goes to the government and they blow it all. A lot of it gets spent on the military. A lot of it gets spent on, like, NASA makes $58 million a day. If you didn't know that, NASA, what did NASA do for you lately? NASA makes $58 million a day of your tax money. So NASA's making $58 million a day. LeBron James is making $58 million a year. Oprah's making $100 million a year. And everyone you know is a coal miner. Everyone you know is a lunch lady. Maybe you know a doctor and he's in debt. Maybe you know some school teachers that are well off. So you're all working in this economy where you understand hours for dollars. But yeah, you can glimpse these pockets of the economy where people act, I mean, they provide you a service for entertainment, but they never provide anything back. They just get to be, I love pop culture and martial arts, guys, but an aneurysm on a true economy. Well, I don't want to go dropping which demographics as far as colors and races and genders support which other colors and races and genders. I'll let you do the Googling, but there is one category, one demographic that after all taxes are paid, after all rebates, handouts, education, funding for any number of programs that groups have access to based on the groups that take the most versus payback in taxes. One group is head and shoulders above all the other groups when it comes to what color, and gender and nationality that is. I'll let you figure that out. But there's one group out there that literally does more for the economy than all other groups because of somewhere in the economy a kickback, whether it's a tax break, whether it's funding, whether it's education, housing, food, however you want to look at it. Money paid to the worker by the government, money given back to the worker by the government. There is a group that stands head and shoulders above all other groups combined. So, for all the money you make, there's only one section of the American population that's basically supporting all the other sections. I'm not going to say on this video. I'll let you figure that out. It's the least you can do. So we support countless unpaid overpaid athletes and entertainers. I just saw Demi Lovato die of an overdose 8 times over the past several years. Suddenly she's back with 8 top digital hits and singing about the commander-in-chief. And I'm like, that broad's wildly rich, and all she's ever done is come on TV and cry about how she has a substance abuse problem. People keep giving her money. That's why the economy doesn't work. So when everyone says, oh, what's this great reset mean for me? It means that for too long we've had a fake economy. And we've spent our money on celebrities. We've gone out to a restaurant and we've had slave labor. I've worked in restaurants and I know how the money works in a restaurant. It only works because half of your staff doesn't get paid a wage. They run on tips. And then the part that does get paid a wage is underpaid based on usually what a successful restaurant makes. So you have an entire class of people who are literally working slave wages. Well, you notice there's no restaurants open anymore. Because of, the plague. It's not because the economy doesn't work anymore and you can't pay people slave wages. The bubble burst. They just didn't tell you the bubble burst. That's why no movies are being made in Hollywood. You can't pay someone $30 million to make a crap movie that nobody really, they lie about how much money these movies make, that nobody goes back and sees. That's why they're shutting them down from theaters, and they're pumping them into your house with Netflix and Amazon Prime and Disney Plus. No one's watching this stuff because it's bad. 30 years ago, movies were an event, and we would all watch movies. Well, here we are 30 years later. If there's a good movie to make, you already made it, right? But every actor in Hollywood gets paid $30 and $40 and $50 million and all this stupid. Movies don't make that kind of money. And now theaters are closed because people can't be next to one. You can still riot, right? You could still go to Walmart, but Hollywood virtually isn't working. Movies aren't being made. Well, we pumped too much money into a fake thing that never gave us back vegetables, never gave us back copper, never gave us back tires. They just gave us nonsense. And as soon as we realized it was all nonsense, we stopped seeing it. Well, next thing you know, you can't go see movies, and movies can't be made anymore. Unless you have a bunch of COVID restrictions. It will now be an extra $1 million to make a movie. They say, give or take, per month now. Any set on a show, on a movie, now takes another $1 million. Now, I know that doesn't make sense. How are you going to charge more money if there was no money to begin with? Because you make only the people who can lose money beyond the economy able to make money, and that's the high tax they pay. So you'll still wheedle out some of them. But the upper echelon gets to stick around. Notice now, this past year, they've had incredible gains. Amazon, Walmart, the biggest companies. But if you go track the economics, you can see that often And if you've ever sold products, you can see that a lot of these big companies can just lose money indefinitely. Why? Because they're publicly traded stocks. When things go sideways, they get influxes of money, sometimes not as obvious as a bailout, and sometimes as obvious as, hey, we're just bailing out this company. But ultimately, they're always bailed out by you and I, the taxpayer. So Walmart can treat us terrible, tell us to wear masks, sell us garbage from China. We can protest, we can boycott, we can say screw you. They will still get our money, regardless. So when you wonder what's being reset, what is the Great Reset? We bought nonsense from China and they replaced workers with kiosks. We bought fake food from McDonald's. We went and spent too much money on garbage movies that taught us to worship the devil. We got used to going out and getting, dropping $20 and having a human being cook us food and another human being carry us food and then complain about it because, well, this isn't indicative of a high quality meal. But you came out and got shrimp and steak for $20 and somebody cooked it for you and brought it to you. Go do that at your house. No. We got used to getting slave labor. We got used to getting all of our entertainment. We got used to cheap goods from China. Well, how many $40,000 a year nurses and coal miners can put their money into China and bury their money into slave labor and have their money taxed into oblivion to ultimately support companies that don't support them back? And that's been going on since before I was born, guys. I mean, it's ramped up in the past decade, the past 15 years, sure. But the economy was crooked before I was born. So the economy has limped along this long is miraculous. So let this be a primer for what the Great Reset is. What's the Great Reset going to look like? What's going to become of it? What will the future look like? That's another video. But you really need to wrap your minds around, you the American, you the citizen of the world, that the next 35 years isn't going to look like the last 35. And that's because the last 35 simply shouldn't have looked like the last 35. Now, I have no idea what the next 35 are going to look like, but it's going to be different. And it all comes down to our money was fake. We spent it on fake things, and we used slaves. We thought it was okay. Share this video. Like it, subscribe to this channel. God bless you.